Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Play it again for me, Maestro. And some say that on a clear summer night, you can still hear that crowd from Belgium on St. Patrick's Day. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are, folks. I am Daniel Burke, your host of Pro Wrestling World Talks. I am ever joined by my co-host and best friend of over 20 years, Mac. Mac, thanks again for coming onto the program this week. Yes. It was truly a moment that I think a lot of us have been waiting for. A lot of John Cena haters. I guess in John's promo were the problem. Were the problem of this whole thing, which is entirely not the case. He claims now that the relationship between him and the fans is a toxic relationship. And he announced that he was breaking up with us in that toxic relationship. I
broke up with you a long time ago.
I never took his fucking calls. I never took his calls. I never answered his texts. It was always a one-sided thing of just, will you like me? No, dude, I won't.
No, it wasn't even that for me. For me, it was more like, I'm just really not that into you.
No. It's like you weren't, it's just, no. I was not even going to entertain the thought in my world, in my own sanctum of professional wrestling. John Cena has always been at the bottom of the barrel, in my opinion. And this promo, I will say, was good. Not great, but good. And the reason for that is because of the fact that he did say a lot of things and made it sound in a sense where it was completely original. It wasn't Hogan where it was like, it's about the money. It's all about the money. That was Hogan's NWO mantra. Everything at that point was just like, it's all about me. Where Cena makes it seem like, again, that it's all about him, which has something that I have felt negatively about for all these years. And the same thing with Mac, and the same thing with a bunch of other friends, except one in particular that I had to fucking deal with over the week because in discussions.
Hold on. So we talked about this before, and you said, what about the United States crowd versus the European crowd, and if there was that difference. And I got to tell you, man, if he was in Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, he would have got a huge pop.
Oh, of course.
Huge pop.
It bothers me in the sense that I have to talk with a grown man like he's still in his early 20s, late teens, talking about this guy and then he's trying to still sell me on why I'm like, well, Batista was around that same time and so was Edge. It's like, he wasn't just the only guy, and it's just like,
he was the most pushed out of those guys.
He got the super push. He was the one doing the Today Show. He was the one doing fucking the Tonight Show. He was the one, and it just didn't work. Nobody cared. And that's the problem I have in all of this, is the fact that they're parading him around like he did something. They're parading him around like he is one of or considered by many. Michael Cole says it every time of how he's just the greatest of all time, and it's just, but he's not. He's not, though. Like, he's not. He's never has been, and he never will be. He's not in that. It's a debate that I will go to my grave with. John Cena's not that great. It's a debate that I know I'll win because I have facts to back me up. You look back at those WrestleMania cards that he was on and headlining, most of them, and if you had to rely on him solely, and you didn't have Shawn Michaels and you didn't have The Undertaker, those cards would have blown. People would be talking to them, putting them in the same light as WrestleMania 9. The same light as WrestleMania 11. And a few of them you already can. WrestleMania 27, him and The Miz. Other than The Undertaker and Triple H on that card, that show sucked. WrestleMania 29.
I don't even blame The Miz for that, though.
I don't blame The Miz, because The Miz was kind of the third wheel in that. It was the spare wheel in that whole thing, because that was all to build for WrestleMania 28 between John Cena and The Rock.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Miz for that. But Cena, top of the card, WrestleMania 27. The match sucked. If you banked it off him, you didn't have Triple H and Shawn and The Undertaker on that card. Because I remember that was also the famous Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler match that got like 25 minutes. Which I've seen executions that are more humane than that.
Smoke.
And it's a travesty, that show. That is one of the worst pay-per-views that I've ever had to pay full price for. I was so mad about it. I remember WrestleMania 29 2 years later. If they did not have The Undertaker and CM Punk steal the show in that streak match, that card would have blown. Who was at the top? John Cena and The Rock in the sequel that no one asked for. Because it should have been CM Punk in the main event spot for the championship. It's just, it's going to be Rock and Cena for the belt. Why? It doesn't need the belt. You didn't need it last year. Why do you need it now? Then Cena wins the title. It's just, it's two of the worst WrestleManias in the last 20 years. John Cena was in the main event for.
Yeah.
I watched What Culture yesterday. They had a top 10 video on those, matches that somebody had to absolutely win but lost, and it destroyed their momentum. And 3 of them involved John Cena.
Of course.
One that I completely forgot about, because I talk about the Nexus, and I talk about the Nexus quite a bit. I also somewhat forgot about the infamous John Cena defeating Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30. And the other incident that I completely forgot about, Damian Sandow cashing in on him.
Oh my God.
When he was injured and still losing. 3 times where they could have gotten somebody else just to be in a position of either a high mid-card status or at least taken seriously as a main eventer. And they shit the bed all 3 times because they needed to keep John Cena as strong as humanly possible. And every one of those situations could have been plausible for him to take the loss and no one would have cared. Like, it wouldn't, and meaning that it wasn't going to hurt his stock whatsoever. People were still going to buy his merch, things of that nature. So then Monday night happens where he finally has to give an explanation. And I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, the first 5 or 10 minutes of this, he sounds like one of these millennials that are giving, it's just these whiners and complainers, because it's almost, because we're talking about someone, folks, that he has to admit the way that he was packaged, the way that he works, the way that he comes across, he should automatically accept and understand that he is going to be polarizing.
I'm sorry. So two things, right? Number one is, and listen, Cody put it in his segment when he came out to have a conversation with him after Cena talks for what felt like forever. Comes out and basically bottom lines it as, "You whiny little bitch," and I found a picture online. I don't know who made this picture, but it's very well done, and it's basically saying exactly that. It's a picture of Cody pointing at Cena saying, "You whiny little bitch," and that is how I felt the promo went for Cena, anyways, until Cody came out. He just came across that way, like kind of like you said, that whiny millennial mentality. That's more or less what I heard. I'm just gonna call it whiny little bitch syndrome. But to your point, I think the way they positioned him back in the early 2000s, 2010s is very akin to positioning him to be like this successor to Hulk Hogan, right? This real American, the Marine, Super Cena, like that is how they positioned him. But he never really rose to that. He never really did. And
the
I know
only thing that he has better than Hulk Hogan is his acting career. That's it. He's been in some bigger, successful movies.
How dare you? Suburban Commando is a great movie.
Great. Suburban Commando is great. And No Holds Barred, I think, is great, too. I think it's severely underrated.
Just not Mr. Manny.
Not Mr. Manny. That is dog shit. He'll never get to like No Holds Barred or Suburban Commando status with me. It's like, because I look at both of those films and I'm just like, these are great. I understand that people like why they didn't make money, but these are great films. Like especially Suburban Commando. It is an absolute
one of the most underrated sci-fi movies I've ever seen.
One of the sci-fi comedy films is one of the most underrated ones because it's such a weird combination, and it also proves how great Christopher Lloyd is, because it's like this fucking guy can work with a broom and make it look good because he's working with fucking Hogan and this buddy goddamn movie and it's just Hogan is his normal self, but it works well because he's the fish out of water.
Yeah,
it if the budget, if Disney produced this would have made at least $200 million.
Oh, easily.
At least.
Easily.
And it would be a hit, and people could sit there with Hogan and say, at least, it's like, wow, at least he's got this. But I think the realm of things, because Cena was technically in a couple of these Fast and the Furious movies, and I think he was also in that Amy Schumer movie that did at the time it did numbers.
I forget the name. I know what you're talking about.
Because everybody's like, Amy Schumer, what is he talking about? Well, that stupid train wreck movie did make like a bunch of money at the time, and he was in it. But it's this. It's so hard to just have to, for the next month, that I have to go on and just be like, oh my God, we're still talking about this asshole. It was good to kind of get it kicked. I wish, though, he at least changed the shirt like style a little bit, or like put some type of like. He did,
it was
but he didn't.
Small variation. I agree.
It's not like this is something that you should put something like. That's the thing with you give it to Brock Lesnar when he did eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. Where at one point he just put eat, sleep, conquer, and then he just put a sticker and it said John Cena on it.
Dude, look at Roman Reigns. The dude spits the most random shit out of his mouth, and it's a T-shirt the next day.
I know, because I have most of them.
I know you do. Like OTC, YTC, God Mode, Tribal Chief, like
Head of the table.
Yeah, like he
Acknowledge me.
Acknowledge me. Like all of them. It's like he talks, and it's a shirt.
That's the thing, because he has aura. John Cena does not have aura. John Cena was a corporate machine that was like... John Cena was fucking Big Bird and Kermit the Frog. He was the goddamn top Muppet of the WWE for so long.
Muppet.
That's what he was. He was a Muppet.
I just love the analogy.
Like, he was a Muppet. That's what I consider John Cena. He was a Muppet. He just went out there. He made kids happy. He drove the fucking adults crazy. Because at 21, 22 years old, when this guy was on top, that was the last fucking person I wanted to see on top. Because he was this white meat baby face and Vince McMahon is going to, no matter how much money you fucking make him, he is always going to go for the white meat. I can put the American flag around this guy, baby face. That's what he's done his whole fucking career. That's what he built it on. He built it on with Hogan. He tried it with Lex Luger. Actually, you know what's funny? He just walked on frame and because I have the WCW Thunder kind of live stream on YouTube right now, because that's the way we've come into this land and spectrum, folks, where you can now watch episodes of WCW Thunder Nitro on WWE's YouTube page, and also watch full pay-per-views now, because there is a bit of kind of, I don't know what's going to happen with the video library once they go elsewhere. So I think that they're just have realized that, well, we'll just put the library on YouTube because that'll make money, because we can have multiple channels and make more money. That's exactly what we need. But you know what? I am not complaining. I am not complaining whatsoever. And I'm not saying that, and I'm sure someone is probably saying that. Oh, are you talking negatively about this? No, I think it's a brilliant fucking idea, because you can just sit here as an old school wrestling fan and just put on a stream and watch anything from like 98, 97 and just kick back. To me, I think it's fantastic.
From Apple or whatever, Google / YouTube anyways. So
yeah.
It's like they'll still get the revenue even if they do it.
They're going to get their revenue. It's just probably not going to be what it was. It's going to be the same probably as what it was on, and it probably cost them nothing because they already own the tapes. It's just like
they own everything. They'll just get the revenue. Like, dude, if they put an ad in every time there was an ad break on those shows, and they get X amount of views, it's got to add up.
It does. And considering, because you can see how many people are actually watching this now. That's the thing. So currently on the live stream, there are 1.3 thousand people currently watching. That's
fantastic considering the age of that program.
Wow. Well, because you know what? It's just people want to watch it, man. It's just like that's
Plus
what
it's free.
It's just free. Like, if you're an old school wrestling fan, again, you are in a time of like, this is fantastic. And again, we didn't have, oh, there she is.
I thought the show was going to be about me.
Oh, shit.
I once.
Because I was waiting for you to come in, my dear. What do you mean, no? The whole show. The reason why she wants the whole show to be about her this evening is because today, on the day of recording, is her birthday. Yeah. Yes. And I made sure this evening that She had sushi today. She had Chinese today. I bought her a cake.
I feel like I'm going to throw up because of it so much. And I'm going to bed.
I bought her a nice Beetlejuice talking doll for her birthday. I mean, which she is now going to bring out. Yes.
Just pull the tab for the audience.
Just pull the
They won't
tab.
just let them
This
listen.
actually was something I owned as a child. Yeah. Yes. I actually owned this as a child. It's not my exact
Ooh,
one.
red.
I had to go. Eric, the wonderful at the Emporium in Northeastern, had this in the background of actually one of his his Facebook live videos of where he shows where new stuff comes in, and I saw this in his other store in like the background, and I'm like, wait a minute, what is that? Is that what I think it is? And then we were able to. That was we actually went to go pick that up the weekend of Elimination Chamber. Thanks for that, Mac. I appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
We will also be celebrating her birthday this weekend. It's supposed to be a surprise.
Jeez!
Yeah, exactly. So that will be, so she is enjoying herself, and I am glad that she was able to get everything she wanted today, food-wise, because she deserved it. One day a year that she should be treated like an absolute princess.
Treated like a princess every day. What do you mean?
You're treated like a princess every day. You know
Treated
that.
like a queen today.
You were treated like a queen.
You didn't hang out with me that much.
I had to deal with the stove repair. I had to work.
He just like threw food at me.
Oh, shit.
Did his own thing all day.
No, that's not true.
Happy birthday.
I had to go. I had a tenant that needed to get a stove repaired. I had to work for a few hours. I had to come home early to meet with the stove guy.
When?
Now I'm recording this.
I know.
Like,
But I'm supposed to be the most important thing.
you are the most important thing. I made sure that you got sushi today.
Oh, shit.
You got Chinese food.
Why haven't you dedicated this whole podcast to me?
Because it's a wrestling podcast, honey.
Oh, shit.
Well, I mean, do you want to talk about
I
wrestling?
don't talk about nothing.
How am I supposed to dedicate the show to you if you don't want to talk about
You
wrestling?
should just talk about me.
Because I'm not booked.
I'm not booked. We'll do a whole episode on you.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk
It
about?
might, I don't know. It might be zero.
Everything that you do. So it's just going to be you and Beetlejuice. Kind of like, there he is. Look at him. He's like standing at the doorway right now, just looking in.
Because I'm not
Why
booked.
is everybody in there?
Well, he's also waiting for me to go to bed.
Oh, because he's wants sleepy peepees in the bedtime.
Sleepy babies in bedtime. Yeah, that's why I came in. I'm going to bed.
Lean in.
No,
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Eh.
Nah. Nah.
We know what's happening.
They know what's happening.
I don't care. I just don't want them to
She doesn't want to be on camera. She wants to be a civilian, which I don't blame her.
Good night, guys.
Good night, baby. Happy birthday. I would also
Because I'm not booked.
Okay. I would also be remiss to say that it is someone else's birthday. Yes. John Young's birthday is also today. And I need to kind of, so I wanted to take a moment to say happy birthday, buddy. I also have to send you a bill, bud, because of you, I have spent a good amount of money on jerseys out of your. I'm wearing another one, and I just ordered another one tonight, actually, because that is the way that I'd like to honor him. Because thought about a tattoo, but haven't made the. If I'm gonna get a tattoo, it's gonna be for my brother's initials. But I feel like with John, the best way I can kind of pay tribute to him is the jersey thing, because that was We would talk about it all the time. Of course, though, he would just have. It's kind of like a fair trade because he would just have like a ton of Chicago jerseys, mostly the Blackhawks, which I'm sure. I bring that up, and Mac is just like, God damn it! Why the one team I don't want to talk about from that team? I do have a Jordan jersey, so I did buy one thing from Chicago. I will never own a Cubs jersey. I will never own a White Sox jersey. Maybe a Bears jersey, either Urlacher or Peyton, or Mike Singletary. But I don't. Even Mike Michael. Well, I don't know. Would I get a Mongo jersey? That's a good question because he was a member of the Horsemen.
I was gonna say, I feel like you would.
Yeah. If I could get a Steve McMichael jersey, I'd probably own one. I'll be honest with that, just because. And he was. What's funny is because with Mongo is that he kind of sucked in ring, but I liked him anyways. Because he just had like this outrageous kind of like over the top personality. Yep. I was just like, you know what? I don't care. He fits. He's a horseman. He fits. I get it. But as a in ring, I was just like, ugh. Yeah. Especially whenever he did that tombstone, because he did the spike, which was a version of the tombstone. I was always like, please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah,
speaking of sucks, though, John Cena. It's just, I don't know. I felt like I wanted more, but I felt like he did enough where it satisfied me. But again, and of course that was the thing, because he's just like, what do we get? What do we get? Look, John, I was never asking that from you. I've never asked that from you. I don't care. I wanted you off my TV. If there was a way that I could have you not like that, he just Randy Orton would get hurt, and he'd be gone for months at a time. And Cena was just on TV. He never missed a fucking shot. That's I should love that, because I should be like, you got to respect that. He shows up to work every week. But because I hated him so much, I was just like, just fucking show up. Don't show up. Take a month off. Take 6 months off. Take a year off. Just go ahead. Nobody cares. Nobody wants you here. Mind you, if he was out for a year, the company would have been really hurting because he was the guy carrying the ball. But again, that was in the position that they put him in because they didn't want to raise up anybody else. Because it was like after The Rock left and then they noticed that Batista was leaving, they were afraid to create new stars because they were afraid they were going to leave again. That was the one thing they never wanted. They never wanted to just, like The Rock situation was completely unique because nobody else really just like, you're in the industry for like 5 years, and then all of a sudden you're just like, boom, takes off, and you're in Hollywood within 5 years. It's never happened before, will probably never happen again. Where it's just, you go, all of a sudden you're wrestling for 5 years, and then you get so over that Hollywood's calling you, and then within 5 years you're doing major motion pictures. Hogan's the only guy I could think of, but Hogan's debut film, at least as a solo act, was No Holds Barred.
Was it that or Rocky?
It was Rocky, but he was still the co-star.
Oh,
right?
So you mean as
right,
the top guy? Okay.
But yeah, as the top billing. Where with Hogan, it was him, Joan Severance, and Kurt Fuller. That was kind of like the lineup, where Rock's first starring role, I believe, was the Scorpion King, which had major money behind it. It was still like a massive, massive success. Where you look at Rock's second movie, Hogan's was Suburban Commando, which we talked about earlier, is a great like science fiction film. And things of that nature, where everybody is just like, oh, okay, like, but it wasn't a big hit. It was a cult hit. Made a lot of money in the movie. It made a lot of money in videos and, probably HBO distribution, things like that. I think Rock's second starring movie was The Rundown, where it was Sean William Scott, Christopher Walken, and Rosario Dawson. That's a big fucking lineup. A lot of money behind it. And the movie became a moderate success. I think it's made its money back and then some. And it was also, again, a great movie. Like, it was good. Like, it was really good. And he was able to maintain that for a couple of years where, all right, the second one's successful. The third one's successful.
I don't know if I would say that. He did have one or two mixed in there that were like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but it still bought him a little time because I think he did that. He did buy him. He did Be Cool too, which that wasn't his fault.
I forgot about that.
That wasn't his fault.
I was thinking more of that stupid Tooth Fairy movie he did.
That was dumb. Yeah. And then Southland Tales also, which was apparently Southland Tales is like this, which I know we have a mutual friend that actually has that movie on DVD. And I told him one time, I said, I think you're the only fucking person I know that has that film on any format of anything. Is it
your friend and not mine, or is it that one that's we that guy?
Not him.
So if it's the other one, then he's not a mutual friend. Just let's bottom line that now.
We're not talking about him. We're talking about the other one. Where there's the No Boomerang Club.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Shrewsbury, Massachusetts.
Not him.
Yeah, well,
God,
I
no.
don't know. I'm thinking Shrewsbury, Massachusetts.
I'm not throwing them. God, I'd never put you in the same sentence with him. That's an insult to you.
I agree.
Like, I'd never insult you like that.
Thank you.
It's like calling your mom like a horrible name. I could never do that to someone.
How dare you?
You're someone I love. I wouldn't do that to you.
Hey, I'm just making sure, okay? Because the way it sounded, I was thinking about him. But,
Okay. Yeah, exactly. No, it's that other one. It's the one that we've recently mended fences with.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a friend. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Just the other one.
He owns a copy of Southland Tales on DVD, and I always make fun of him for it. I think it was the same thing when I found out that you had a copy of Howard the Duck for a long time.
Listen, Marty McFly's mom is in that movie. Cut me some slack, okay?
I will admit, yeah. Yes, you deserve a pass for that.
Thank you.
I give you a pass for that. You now get a pass. And I always...
God, I should have said that fucking excuse years ago. God
You should have. Why didn't you come up with that?
No.
Because, that's why I let you... That's why I let striptease slide. I was like, I'm never going to give you crap about striptease because I understood.
Yeah.
But I still gave you the pass.
I mean, that and Showgirls are just horrible movies. You buy them for a reason.
You do.
And it's not the cinematic experience. I'll put it
when the Wi-Fi's out, you might need it. It's just the Showgirls. My God.
I shouldn't say that about Striptease. Striptease is an awful movie.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible, but it's not
great, but not terrible.
Yeah.
And you got to admit, Demi Moore, at least, she put her heart into it. Like, she actually trained to be a stripper. It's like, all right. Meh. Of course, every time I see Amar DeSante in anything, I just think of Judge Dredd. And it's just...
Oh, my God. That poor bastard.
Well, I always think of Judge Dredd or Gotti, which I tend to remember Gotti more. Because he's the only John Gotti that I ever recognize on film. Because John Travolta was such utter trash that I don't even think that exists in my world. But Armand DeSante, if you haven't seen Armand DeSante as Gotti, I strongly suggest you do. Especially, too, since like half of the Sopranos cast is in that movie. It's like, oh, there's Polly Walnuts. Oh, there's this.
I gotta look it up, man, because he's been in so much stuff, but he always gets like just pushed into this like segment. He was in Hoffa. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, I remember he was in Hollywood. That's
Fatal Instinct.
one of my favorite dad stories when I was a kid. Was we were supposed to go to the movies to go see Aladdin, and he actually said to me, he's just like, if we go to Hoffa, would you tell your mother?
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I think I was just like, I really want to see Aladdin though. He's like, but Shaq Nicholson, like he's trying to get away with it, which it's like, oh, I'm definitely his son.
Oh my god.
Just always scheming sometimes, coming up with some kind of angle. Of like,
I forgot he was in The Lords of Flatbush in '74.
yes, he was. He was also in Paradise Alley with
Yep.
Stallone and Terry Funk.
Lady
Was
in the
in
House
that.
in '78. Forgot about that one too.
I think he was also in Prophecy with Talia Shire from
Yep. That was '79. Yep.
like
The Penitent, Passion in Paradise, Animal Behavior.
I saw some of the Prophecy when I had food poisoning one time.
Oh my god.
And it was like 4:00 in the morning. It was literally was a fever dream. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Oh man, I completely forgot he was in Two for the Money in '05.
Oh God, he wasn't Two for the Money.
Yeah.
I remember we saw that at the
Yep.
theater, and I was like, why are we watching this?
I mean, there was a lot of movies like that. American.
Yeah, I
Gangster
know. I
in
think
07.
it was such a random film to go see.
Yeah, wasn't my idea. Let's put it that way. It's not-
No,
it's not what
it was
it's not what I
probably
would have seen.
mine.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was 05. Maybe somebody from Norwood.
Maybe.
It just feels like that would have been the case. But yeah, the one thing we can all agree on is
Was it? I mean, where do we go from here with this, guys? With this whole angle, because I feel like
listen,
Cody
he's-
said everything that needed to be said to kind of rebut him, and then that
but
was
hold
it.
on. So you're right. I think so. First of all, I want to give kudos to this crowd because holy shit did they show out. That chant was phenomenal. The hey goodbye after Cody left and Cena's walking out in silence. It's just chef's kiss to that crowd, man. Great crowd. I would add this though to your question of where do you go from here. Nothing about The Rock was discussed at all. He did not bring up The Rock at any point in this entire segment, nor did Cody when he came out.
Are you going with this Meltzer theory that's out there?
So lay that on me because I don't know if I've heard it. But what is it?
Well, Meltzer was pretty much one of the ones that kind of it's not a theory, but more or less he was the one that pointed out that, like, you notice how they haven't mentioned anything about The Rock, like what's going on with The Rock, is there a situation with The Rock and all this stuff, which yeah, it's just the thing about it is right now, this time of year, people, there's a lot of pissing in the wind. Okay, we don't really know where it's going.
Yeah.
And that's something that everybody needs to kind of realize and just, I understand that. I get it though, because we're all excited and we're all overthinkers and we're all armchair bookers and we're all just like, how's this going to go? Where I'm sitting there now and I'm looking at this whole thing and I'm like, okay, so what are they going to do for the next 4 weeks to kind of get this built up? Who is Cena going to start throwing? Is Cena going to start peeling off more layers? Is 1 week he going to change his gear? The next week he changes his music? Like, how is this going to play out? Like, how is he going to now add more layers to this character, or is it still going to be the same presentation, just a bit of a, like the ampage is going to be turned up a little bit? I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason at this point for me to sit here and speculate with you and give you my honest theory on how I think this is going to go, because I really don't. I don't know where the angle of this character is going to go. Some are saying that this is only a temporary thing and he's going to go. So is this going to be like Shawn Michaels from 2005 at SummerSlam when he was a babyface going into that a month before that show, but for the month of August he was a complete heel, and then the night after SummerSlam he's back to a babyface again? Is this how it's going to go? I don't know. He is advertised for more Raws and SmackDowns after WrestleMania, and I think he might be advertised for Backlash. So, is this going to be a multi-thing? I don't know. Like, it's hard to kind of speculate and see where this is going to go. I think I know where it's going to go, but at the same time, I don't know where it's going to go. Like, it's just so hard to kind of... But again, because there's 4 weeks left, we're pissing in the wind. Yeah. So we're just kind of all speculating here and just throwing things out there. The Rock not being mentioned this week may mean nothing in the long road of things.
Could be.
But 2 weeks from now, he could just show up out of nowhere. He's supposed to not be doing anything right now anyways, because there was the rumor with him, is he going to be available for WrestleMania this year? And up a few months ago, and it's been speculated, it's been back proven, some people have been like, no, that's not true. No, that's true. We don't know what the Rock's schedule. I don't know what his schedule is coming into WrestleMania. I don't know if we're going to see him again. I don't know. I don't know anything about how this is going to play out over the next 4 weeks. Was it a good presentation this week? It was a good promo. Not great. I thought Cody came out looking a lot better than he did. And Cody was out for maybe a quarter of the time that he was out there.
Yeah.
And he had to say maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs, and he got his point out. All that Cody Rhodes needed to do was cut him off after he said kid.
Which he did.
That's all he needed to do, because how many times in a John Cena promo that he went back and forth with somebody that he always got the better of them jousting, because he would always come out with this smart-ass comment. How many times did he go into business for himself with a small promo? He did it with The Miz. He did it with Roman Reigns. He did it with Austin Theory. He did it with The Rock. He's done it with multiple people where he's just like, go for the throat, but also make it look like it's a work shoot, but make the other guy look like a complete buffoon. What he did to Roman Reigns for a top guy going up against a guy that's supposed to be the next top guy, that is something he never should have done.
Yep.
Never.
I agree.
And he went into business for himself, and it's just like, it's called a promo class, kid.
Well, listen,
shut the fuck up.
Maybe it's something with the Anoa'i family, because he did the same thing to The Rock. Oh, did you write that on your sleeve too, Rock? Like, bro. Like, talk about going into business for yourself. It's been documented he went no business for himself on that promo.
He's constantly done it. And I get it. It's because of the fact, Austin did it too. So did Hogan. Hogan never did it on... Thing about it is, Hogan never did any bad business, at least on camera. He just did it behind the scenes.
He also had creative control, brother.
Creative control, brother. And then, of course, someone's going, well, what about Starrcade 97? Did we see it openly? No. Did we know it was happening? Yes.
That one I don't know, but I don't disagree either. But I listen. At the end of the day, I think this can cook. I really do. It's just, it all depends where they go from here. And you still got about 30 days or so before we get to that date. So, I mean, they have plenty of time to figure it out, but most likely they already have it figured out, and we just kind of need to wait for it to unfold. But what do you want to do from here? We got 2 more segments to talk about. Which one do you want to go to?
We might as well go to Rhea Ripley. We can talk about this whole scenario because I never thought I would be in a position in my lifetime, because when I saw Rhea Ripley in the Mae Young Classic and I saw her trajectory, and when she changed her look, I was 100% for it. And
I feel like you and 99.9 of the male race, yeah.
yeah, but they're in it for the different reasons. Mind you, I'm not complaining about that. I'm also not saying that I'm not. But as a wrestling-minded person first, it was a unique look that got her away from being Charlotte 2.0. However, this past Monday gave me Charlotte Flair vibes. Because
hold on, before you keep going, let me ask the question now. Is this really her fault, though? I feel like the reason I asked you the question is I feel like we talk about this. We talked about it last week with Gold Standard. We've talked about it before. We've talked about it with, this one person.
Boo ran.
I feel like she's just getting booked into a corner because they don't know how to take the title off her at times. I like what they're doing with her and Bianca, but, like, dude, justice for Io Sky right now, because there's, like, just total disrespect for Io at this point.
It's just constant. We talked about WrestleMania 27 earlier between Miz and John Cena.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is WrestleMania 27 to me, because it's like, it's about Bianca and Rhea. If it's about Bianca and Rhea, why the fuck did Rhea lose the title?
Thank you. I've only been asking that for 2 weeks.
And the problem, the reason why I mentioned Charlotte in all this is, yes, it isn't Rhea's fault that this is happening. However, she is going to get go-away heat because of this. Because
I think it depends who wins. I have to say
it's the fact that she's kind of angling herself in, how she signed the contract to be, now it's going to be a triple threat match maybe, which all you have to do is set up a rematch. You don't have to make it a triple threat match. You can set up a rematch.
I agree and I disagree, and let me explain my reasoning for this at this point, because I know there's going to be people that are like, dude, last week, 2 weeks ago, you were like, no, it should be Rhea Bianca, and listen, it 100% should be, but the triple threat is your way out, because at the end of the day, I know Bianca is, right at this moment, Bianca's undefeated at WrestleMania. I know that.
Yes.
And I hate to say it this way, given what I've said the last couple of weeks about this entire situation, the triple threat match, whatever. Io Sky should retain. Because then you further this blossoming feud between Rhea and Bianca, which you then can hold over with the triple threat match, and then maybe down the road, probably SummerSlam, finally have that one-on-one match. And it doesn't need to be for the title. Let's be real. You and I both know this. We've watched wrestling long enough. This type of match with these two women does not need to be a title match.
The problem I have with this is that is a Mania.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Event. It is a Mania match. It is not a SummerSlam match.
I agree,
And
but I think you
they-
can get away with it as a triple threat to start.
You can to do that, and I get it, but it's still stupid. This
I don't
whole
disagree,
thing
yeah.
is dumb. It is a road you didn't have to go. All you had to do was Rhea retains, or not even have Io Sky involved until after. All right, yeah, you're the number one contender at Backlash. Cool. At least I'm the number one contender of something. Does it suck that you're not going to get the Mania match? Yeah. But at the same time, you have to understand the concept of Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair one-on-one for the Raw Championship. But you don't do that. You just say, oh, Rhea's going to lose. And Rhea lost clean. She did. She was distracted. No, she was not. She
was, but not by anybody's fault of her own.
Not by any fault. She was distracted, meaning that her mind was distracted.
Correct. Yeah.
Not anything that Bianca did, because Bianca wasn't reaching for her. Bianca was standing there. Rhea beat herself, but Rhea still has to. And the reason why I'm saying it's the Charlotte thing is because it's a heel tactic. Oh, you didn't beat me. I beat myself. Come on.
Yep.
This whole thing smells like when Shawn Michaels inserted himself at WrestleMania 20. He had a very good right to do so because he didn't lose to Triple H at the Royal Rumble in a triple threat last man in that last man standing match, not a triple threat match, but he lost. It was a draw. Both men were passed out. Both men couldn't answer the 10 count. It was a draw. So Shawn technically had a claim.
Yep.
Which is why it made sense. This doesn't make sense because Rhea lost.
I mean,
not by chicanery.
Yeah.
She lost.
I mean, there is that whole, rematch clause for most of this, but 4 or 5 weeks to Mania, it's kind of hard to enforce that situation. But I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't hate the idea of a triple threat match. I just don't really like the way they're going about it. If she comes out and interrupts the segment with EO and Bianca for the contract signing, I'm fine with that, right? I think that's the perfect segue. But as soon as I see that contract on the ground, on the mat, I'm just like, she's going to pick it up. And that's exactly what happened.
There's no rhyme or reason to it.
I don't want to say it that way, Dan, because I think they could have done it
She
this
doesn't
way.
have a claim to the match. That's the problem I have. She doesn't. She was the champion that lost. She lost clean, and she beat herself. So she needs to sit there and find another way to get to WrestleMania. That is the logical thing. It's happened. I get it. I get it.
I get
it. You want to have Rhea Ripley in a championship match. I get it.
No, it's not even that. I just think that if she keeps attacking them, they ask for her to be involved in the match at that point. Which, that's a hard sell. That's not something that they've ever really worked on in a storyline. But, dude, like, stranger shit's happened. It's wrestling. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't like the way they're going about it. I'm fine with a triple threat match. Truthfully, I am. It's how
I think it's going to be a great match.
It's how they get there. That's my problem.
Yeah, and it gives Rhea, because the thing with Rhea is that she is unfuckable as far as booking is concerned. You can't do it. Like, it's just, she's always going to get a big pop. She's always going to be considered a star. But the problem is that if you start pushing her where people know that they know, when people know that you see her as the golden goose, that's when you start to have this rejection. That's when she becomes polarized, because then you know, the fans know, the audience knows that this is who you want us to cheer for. And this is the one that you want to produce. This is the one you want to promote. And when that starts to happen, the smarks begin to start to say no. And they start to rebel. And then when she comes out, it's more of a polarizing, oh, there's some heel heat, scolding, but it's not scorching.
Right.
So
For me, honestly, I agree and I disagree with some of that. And it really just comes down to this, right? Like,
fuck you, agree with all of it.
no, it's just she's over with the fans, and I don't think it's a question of over pushing, right? I read an article earlier about the women's mid-card championships, the women's intercontinental and the women's U.S. title, and I think this is kind of relevant to this conversation as well. And the commentary was basically saying that there are huge differences, right? Chelsea Green is over in her own right. She's defending the title a lot. She's been on NXT. She's an engaging character, and it's a character that she has worked at since she's returned to WWE even. Lyra Valkyria is in a different boat. We've talked about this last week with Proud Smark, where I made the comment that she's kind of overpushed. She needs to work on her character work, right? We made a comparison between her and Tiffany Stratton because they're both younger stars. Tiffany has an engaging character, a character that she's worked at. She's over with the fans for different reasons other than just that. I think you all know what I'm talking about. Lyra Valkyria still isn't there yet. And she's also not heavily featured on television like Chelsea Green, like Tiffany Stratton. Io has had a decent year. She's been in some good matches. Obviously, we could talk about Rhea being injured for part of the year, coming back, having great feuds with Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan has carried the division, by the way. And Bianca has been in the tag division because of Jade Cargill. And now it just seems like she's not even involved in that whole thing with Jade and Naomi, which is fine. I'm fine with that. It's just kind of a little strange the way it was kind of let go. So for me, it's a little bit of everything here, because if this was 2 years ago, Bianca's already in the main event anyways. They took her out of that to work with Jade. They took Io, put her in there, had great matches between her and Bayley and the rest of Judgment Day, or not Judgment Day, excuse me, Damage Control, and going through the motions there. She obviously is a staple in the women's War Game match at this point. So I think all three women belong here. But again, for me, it's like, how did we get here? Right? And it's Bianca's at ringside, Rhea's mouthing off, she gets distracted because she is distracted by Bianca, who's literally just sitting there, and then she loses the match. I don't hate any of that. I do when it happens, of course, because again, I want to see Rhea and Bianca. I just feel that how they're going about triggering this as a triple threat match is dumb. Great, she picked up the contract. Now she signed it. Now what the hell? Like, just, where do you go from there? It's not engaging right now. I get it. These three women do not like each other. I get it. She wants to force her way into the match, but it's just stupid. But the comment about, the fans are showing who you want us to like and stuff like that, I don't know if that's the case here. I don't. Because like I said, all three women have, I think, earned the place in the match. It's just the way they've gone about from Rhea to Bianca to now Io to Bianca and now reinserting Rhea because she grabbed the contract. It's just lazy. It's lazy writing.
I think that's been one of the problems with Triple H's booking, has been some of the women's storylines, some of the women's booking, where it's been like, you look at Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan took a situation that was an accident and could have been really detrimental to the women's division, and she took that bag and ran with it, and has made herself become one of the top stars in the industry, not just on the women's side, but on the men's side too, just plain in general. And I was doing some research this week recently, because I, again, with my toy kind of fandom and that whole stuff. So I was noticing a video on their major wrestling figure podcast was talking about Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan figures are going for a pretty penny. Sure enough, I find that Liv Morgan, one of the, and it was a throwaway buy, and I think it was right after it might have been like a year after she had beaten Ronda. So we're talking like summer 2023. I think she was still hurt at that point. And so, of course, they come out with a new figure. Of course, I buy it. It's like a $95 figure now because of the year she just had and how hot she is as a talent. And I guess you gotta be careful sometimes. You don't want to be
good cover.
Yes, how hot she is as a talent, because she's a heel. Yet, and it's the same thing with like Alexa Bliss back in like 2017, 2018. She's a heel, but the kids love her. Like, I feel like Vakeman and fucking Ghostbusters. Yeah, but the kids love us. Like, Dean Yeager, don't fire us. Yeah, the kids love us. It's kind of like that where you have Liv Morgan and Alexa Bliss, and yeah, they're heels and they're mean girl heels, but yet at the same time, kids love them. And you're just like, how did this happen? And you look at Liv Morgan, the character, she was a freaking homewrecker to the relationship of Dominic Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, yet kids are just like, hey, it's like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, but you know what, to be quite honest, that is a high school relationship pretty much went on because, as they said in Clerks, all that's guaranteed is high school is bad lunch and infidelity. So...
Oh man,
I'm just hitting the one-liners tonight. I'm just like all these like things, all these quotes. That was the one thing I think that me and Steve used to talk about in the media production office. We worked there at Worcester State College, and we would just talk about because when I went, it was still a college, not a university. I'll never call it a university. We were talking about, one day I just want to be able to get a job or do something where I could just use my useless knowledge of movie quotes in television and be able to parlay that into a career. And luckily, 20 some odd years later, I have been able to do that. So I have been able to parlay that useless knowledge of random quotes from 90s movies and parlay that into a broadcasting career. It's sad because it's like, can I name any quotes for movies from like the last 15 years? And it's just like, not really.
Yeah, I was gonna say not really.
Like, it's just maybe the of course I am inevitable, like from Thanos, but like, okay, besides Marvel films, maybe a few of the DC films, not really. Like, there's not been many films that I've been able to just find. I mean, Inception, but that came in like 2010. Okay, there's a few. There's a few that I do quote, but it's few and far between. It's not like it was before, where it was just like every 6 months I was watching some film that some quote I was able to get from it. Like movies like PCU, where I'm still using lines from. I'm just like, what am I doing?
That was a great movie.
Like, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. There are just some movies again where, and it was that Cinemax, Showtime, and HBO preview life that a lot of us had, because it was like, oh, we got free HBO this weekend in a movie you'll never rent because you just look at the box art, you're just like, this is dumb. But then all of a sudden it's on like HBO and you're just like, all right, I'll check it out. Yeah. And you're just like, oh my God, this film's amazing. Why did this make so much money? Like, how many films ended up in our DVD collections, or like from watching like HBO and Cinemax and Showtime, where we were just, these random films would come on at like 11 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a random Saturday or Sunday where you have nothing else going on. And, because when we were kids, when we were like teenagers, we didn't go to the bars. And then when we hit 21 plus, it's like Saturday nights, we were just like, well, I know where I'll be. Like,
yeah. Seriously.
But yeah, this is terrible. This is just not good. And it's not just that. It's like the two top titles on Monday Night Raw on Netflix. And this big deal with Netflix. I'm looking at the booking and I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Because I'm looking at the Jey Uso and the Gunther stuff, which I put in the same line. It's not really the same, but it is. In the sense of, what the fuck are you doing every week? Like, how is this working?
I don't want to say it that way. I think it's all of them. To be 100% honest, it really does feel like it's all of them right now. You could make your argument about the SmackDown, the World Tag Team Champions, or WWE Tag Champions, excuse me. Like that to me should be like a ladder match at Mania at this point. If all these 5 teams, it's like, dude, like, settle it at WrestleMania in a ladder match or something. And that wouldn't be outlandish. They did it last year.
Yes.
With the World Tag Team Champions, I'm not engaged at all. I love the War Raiders. I do. But this feud with Bruce and what is the other one's name? I don't even know. I don't even know what to call them at this point. It's just American made. Like, I don't care. The most engaging thing about American made at this point is Chad Gable as a luchador.
Yeah.
Truthfully. I just want them to remove the mask and it's like Chavo Guerrero, but of course we know it's not him. The World Heavyweight Championship, yeah, like, I get it. We talked about this last week with Gold Standard, but it's not doing anything for me. The Raw Women's Championship or the Women's World Championship already talked about. I already kind of mentioned Lyra Valkyria, barely on TV right now. It's not doing anything. So then you go to SmackDown, and I already mentioned the tag champs there. I already mentioned Chelsea Green earlier. Arguably, like, she needs a good feud for Mania, I feel like, so get that moving. Let's go. But adding Alba Fire to her cabinet, as it were, Okay, he needs something for Alba Fire to do after you get rid of Isla Dawn. So, okay.
I'm okay with that. I
I'm
have
okay
no
with this
problem
too.
with
Yeah, I don't
Let
hate
her
it.
have a cabinet. I think that's funny.
Yeah, same.
And
I'm all for it.
she'll do better with it than JBL did with his cabinet.
That's not saying much. Jesus.
Oh, they're all mid-carders. No, they're not. They're fucking jobbers. Every single
Yeah,
one of
exactly.
these guys.
There were jobbers. Or
Orlando
mid-carders.
Jordan's a jobber. Fucking the Bashams are jobbers. They're all jobbers. And John, you're high mid-card at best. You're just the main event right now. I get it.
Well, he may had a great transition doing that, though.
Oh, he did. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not knocking JBL. I don't want people to think like you're a JBL. No, I love JBL.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what?
It's just
When we talk about Raw, I completely forgot about him. I don't know why I did, but Braun Breaker is doing fantastic. Give
of
him a
course he
solid
is.
feud for
He's-
Mania.
they're
Please.
doing right by him. It's just everybody else right now. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Again, like, let's talk SmackDown, because we just talked a little bit about it. LA Knight's not going to have a feud, probably. It
Probably
just-
not.
Just
And he's
seems
the
like-
U.S. champion.
Right, that's why I'm mentioning him, right? Because he's the champion right now. I mentioned Chelsea, I mentioned him, I mentioned the tag champs. So that brings us to the women's, which Charlotte Flair and Tiffany, I think is great. But the only thing you've done so far is a brawl. That's it.
Botch brawl.
I don't want to say botch, but like even Buran mentioned it. It's like doesn't look clean. It's just like they're probably trying to protect them, especially Charlotte, not for nothing, before Mania, and I get that, but like, come on. Speaking of botches, Jey Uso's definitely didn't help him last week, or this week, I should say. And then
He's starting to. They're starting to turn. Not in the audience.
I don't want to say they're starting to turn, but like, he's gonna have his distractors, man. Especially if he goes over.
Especially if he's dropping 10,000 to see Jey Uso main event. I mean, Jesus.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
That's one of my favorite lines.
It
ever.
was a good line.
Oh my God. Like that.
So hold on. Before we disintegrate even further here. Then you have Cody and Cena, which, listen, this cooks, but here is where I get to the meat of the problem. You still have 4 fucking weeks to go.
I know.
Listen, there should have been a Saturday Night main event injected into the next couple weeks, whether it be this week or next week, and then objectively you have 2 to 3 weeks left, and then you can cook on those weeks. The fact you have nothing from Elimination Chamber to Mania at this point in time, especially, right, when you have these Saturday Night main events, why not inject one here? It would be the perfect timing to do it. It's the perfect build-up to WrestleMania at that point.
You want to know what the problem is?
What's that?
Triple H is closing in on 3 years as Booker. I always feel like there's a shelf life as a Booker about 3 to 5 years.
Well, let me go back to something I said previously then. Not tonight, but I've said it previously on the show and previously to you separately. It seems like he has these hot and cold phases where he books very well around Mania.
Yep.
It's not for nothing. Like, despite my grievances with the current booking, it is still very good.
It's
right?
still good.
The storylines are engaging.
Yeah.
It just feels slow because of the time we have to wait. Which, to be fair, we've had this in the past where we've had to wait weeks and weeks between PLEs.
Yes.
So that's fine. But again, he has these hot and cold flashes. Mania, he books very well. SummerSlam, he books very well. Then there's kind of like these lulls.
He shows.
Yeah, I don't say B shows, but like let's talk last year for a second, right? Coming out of Mania, going into Backlash, very well done. Across the board. Across the board. There was only really one bad show in 2024 for PLEs.
Money in the Bank, and that was it.
That was it. Yep.
And that wasn't even a bad show. It was
not.
just bad decisions.
Correct. I 100%
Except
agree.
Tiffany. Tiffany was a 100% win.
Yep.
But the men's side was just, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
just because of the fact it's like, and then you waste it the same night. It's like, okay, I understand you want to further the story between him and Punk, but you didn't need to fucking sacrifice the goddamn Money in the Bank to do so.
Yeah, I agree.
He already got
totally fine.
fucked over at Mania. He's already pissed.
Yep.
You don't need to do this to cost somebody else it. It's like, but then it's like, well, we did it right by getting Jey Uso to win. It's like, oh yeah, but you had Jey Uso in the Rumble, which everybody's thrilled about.
It's funny. So let's talk just for a quick second about the botch, because I want to make the comparison since I've seen it. The comparison now for the over the top rope botch is comparing him to whatever his name is now, but when in WWE it was Top Dollar, and the over the top rope botch he made. And listen, for all the botches in the world that have an over the top rope botch, these are very like for like, obviously. Jey Uso still looks better in a botch than Top Dollar ever did. I hate seeing the video now because it's like, it's such bullshit. It's just like, dude, Top Dollar like flopped. Jey Uso like looked like he was trying to catch himself, and that just made it worse. But it still looks better than Top Dollar by far.
Top Dollar, more like bottom dollar. Ah!
More like no dollar.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, more like
it's God, I cannot wait until it's like I almost want to just fast forward this year. That way he could be in his retirement. And then it's like
I at
could
least
just
want to
look at
fast
bullet
forward
points.
the next couple of weeks, but if I was going to fast forward that stuff, I would do that too. Because then he's gone.
I just feel like as far as my care meter goes, going in, like as far as WrestleMania booking is going into Mania right now, I'm like at about a 4 or 5. Because it's like, yeah, there are some things I'm like really kind of like, oh, it should be fun. And then there's some just ones I'm just like, where are we going here?
Well, as you say that, the first thought that comes to mind is very much what we just said. I want this year to end, at least in the sense of John Cena.
Yes.
I want the next couple of weeks to fast forward because I want to watch fucking WrestleMania at this point.
Oh, I do too.
But I also
want him to
retire. Just be done.
Exactly.
The other thing I was
It's
thinking
like-
of too is I'm very curious as it gets closer to April 19th and April 20th. I wonder what Vegas is going to look like, and not just from the standpoint of it's hosting WrestleMania, but what the betting lines are going to look like too.
You know what the amazing part is? The fact, and this is the amazing part. So in October, me and the missus are going to Disney World. And between that, I will be going for about 5 days. 4-day passes, meal plan for 5 days, airfare, which the airfare I have, it's going to be like JetBlue. They don't have like a class system, but I'm in like one of the preferred kind of class where they so
Extra
the seats are not like the regular coach, right? And so with all that and what I am expecting budgeting in to spend down there, it's still going to be half than one ticket to WrestleMania.
Well,
for
that
one
was the comment you made earlier. Spending $10,000
It's
to watch.
also
WrestleMania.
going to, like, even though I did figure out if you wanted to be in the luxury box with Hulk Hogan, that price has come down. I did the numbers again with that, and to spend 2 nights in a luxury box with Hogan, that's not including airfare, hotel, spending money, and all that stuff. It's still going to be way under probably what I'm going to pay to go to Disney. And that's for 2 people. That's not for one person. That's not for also to be dealing with crowds and things of that nature, because we're going in October, which is usually a time of year where it's not as crowded. And I'm looking at the cost of living already in Vegas, and I'm looking about the fact of that those cheap days of when it was run by organized crime. It was a lot more family friendly and a lot more, even though really it wasn't family friendly, because it was, well, this is where you take your kids' college money and your mortgage money, and you're going to blow it all. And we're going to take your car, we're going to take your house. And it wasn't a resort that it is now. That's when corporate America came in and kind of took the charm out of Vegas, kind of took the shine out of Vegas, kind of took the dirt out of Vegas, and going to these decent restaurants and paying less than nothing because they just wanted you to come into the door, where now it's like you're paying just like you would everywhere else. And now it's going to be hell. WrestleMania is just, I think it's interesting because even when they went to the stadiums, you could still go to WrestleMania reasonably priced. Even if you were in like the upper section, it's still going. You could probably get a seat for under $100, and because at that point too, not many people were watching. It wasn't as a mainstream phenomenon as it is now. But wrestling was never supposed to kind of be this entity where you're charging $10,000 a night for ringside seats, and the upper section and the nosebleeds are still ridiculously priced. And it's kind of like, I equate it to the 1990s Boston Red Sox, when going to Fenway Park felt like it was an experience. It was fun. And it had that little bit of dirt, that grind to it, but it's just, you went to restaurants around the area and you weren't paying top dollar. I remember there was this diner at the corner of Yawkey, and I forget, but they had really, really good food, and they were really, really cheap. And this was before the group that owns it now, the John Henry and Tom Warner, kind of bought the entire block, where now when you went to the stadium in the 90s, you gave them the ticket, and that was when you get into the stadium. Now you get into like Yawkey Way of the street, and it's so closed off and fenced in, you have to give your ticket to get onto the street. Not to get into the stadium, to get onto the street. And then they lock you in to kind of like this gated area. And at that point, you're stuck, because it's like you have to buy their food, you have to buy their water, so it's like everything's at a premium price.
Yeah, you're talking back when like beer at Fenway is like $7 or $8 versus whatever the hell it is now.
Not even, probably like 5 or 6. We're talking when it was the Yawkey Trust era, like I think it was John Harrington, if I'm not mistaken. That's a familiar name back then.
No,
We're talking about like the Dan Duquette years. We're talking about the Lou Gorman years, when they were still kind of, because I got into the Red Sox when I was probably 10 or 11 years old. Maybe even younger. It was probably around like 90, 91. And so I was probably like 7 or 8.
right.
And this was, because we were talking about this week, because we were having a discussion about Clemens. And I said, Clemens is kind of like Hulk Hogan to me, where it's, yeah, I understand he's an asshole, but he's kind of the guy that got us in.
Yeah.
Because Clemens was the first athlete I remember and just connected with, and it's just like he's a star, he's the man. Like, and that was kind of the loyalty I had with him throughout his career. I wasn't mad he went to the Yankees. I was happy for him because I was happy he won a World Series. It's kind of how my dad felt when Wade Boggs won the World Series with the Yankees. It's
It was,
but we've
for me,
reached
it was Bork when Bork went to the Avalanche.
yeah, but that shouldn't have hurt people as much because yeah, Clemens going to the Yankees, it's just like this kills because he went to the rival. Like when Bork went
Yeah,
to
but
the
it was one of those players that I'm saying, like, we said this about Brady before too, right? Like, it's like, yeah, it's a rival with the Yankees, but it's like if a player's been here for a long time, and especially Bork, who had not won with us,
right. No,
I was
yeah.
happy he went somewhere that he won. It wouldn't matter to me if it was the Rangers or the Islanders.
With the Canadians, though.
Yeah, I don't know about
matter.
that. That's why I paused. Like, I don't know about the Canadians, though.
Maybe the Maple Leafs. Maybe we could have swapped.
Yeah, that I would
Maple
have allowed.
Leafs.
I would have gone for
Like,
that.
all right, fine, Toronto, fine.
Yeah. Toronto,
You know,
Jets,
it's not
Vancouver.
Montreal. It's like, no,
Yep.
that never would have happened. If they traded him to the Canadians, I think people would have rioted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, Clemens going to the Yankees and winning the World Series there, it was just like the problem is that the height was at that point where the Red Sox and the Yankee rivalry was just starting to peak up again.
Yep.
And it just happened because Clemens just happened to be there at that point. And I don't think it had anything to do with him being there because it was just the Red Sox were good and the Yankees were good, and it was just like a collision course. If David Wells was still there, it still would have been the senses would have been kind of heightened.
Yeah.
But the problem was that we were coming into our own, and the Yankees at this point were still the team. They were the franchise. And I think that's kind of what brought it on. But when Clemens won the World Series there, I was happy for him. It's the same thing. And the Brady thing, I took that kind of to heart at first, but I wasn't too upset about it. Afterwards, I was just like, I'm over it now.
Yeah.
It was just that first year of kind of just like, you left us. And then you kind of looked at the state of everything, and you're just like, oh, you would have sucked if you were still here. Yeah, you know what? Good on you. It's fine. Like, you had to kind of evaluate what you were dealing with your own team, and looking around, you're just like, oh, yeah.
I think that's
I see why you
I
left.
wasn't super mad about it either because I did see it.
It took me a minute. I was just like, oh, okay.
I saw it that year. I literally saw it the last year he was even in New England. I saw it. I was like, yeah, get out now, Tom.
Yeah.
Good on you. Get out while you can.
Yeah. It's like and to go to Tampa and win there again. It's like he didn't go to Miami or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So I was like,
that was
all right,
another part of it too.
you know.
Like if he went to like Miami or the Jets or whatever, yeah, I would have been pissed. But it's not what happened. So
He went to a different conference in a division we'd never have to deal with.
hey, he beat Patrick
So he was
Mahomes.
just like, he beat Patrick Mahomes exactly.
All right, I think we delayed this part of the conversation long enough.
I think that's why I wanted to go into that, because it's just like I don't want to talk about this.
I know.
I hate the
That's
fact
why
that
I'm
I have
saying
to
that
fucking
we've
do it
delayed
again.
long enough.
Because I'm praising him. I'm going to praise him. But I'm also going to just say, you fucking asshole again. Look, so Dynamite, of course, I got to talk negatively about AEW again. Dynamite took place last night in Omaha, Nebraska, which ended up suffering blizzard-like conditions. Like, we're talking massive snow amounts, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts, all this. To the point where there were people from their roster because they still decided to have the show last night for some silly reason. I'm sure it has to do something with their contract with Time Warner or Warner Brothers, Max for that matter. And they had the show in Omaha, and their talent, and we're having issues flying again. Jon Moxley drove 11 hours to get to the show from where he was, I believe in Cincinnati, which I thoroughly respect. That is one aspect of Moxley I will always respect, is because of the fact he's old school in the sense of you got to make your shots. And he could have come up with an excuse to be like, this match ain't happening this week. And he could have had valid reasoning where people wouldn't have, like, I wouldn't have bitched. Can't make it, can't make it. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, you got a kid and wife to think about. I get it. And I wouldn't have been mad. But good on him showing up to work and defending the championship. That is where my praise ends.
Yep.
Jon Moxley
agree.
is a fucking moron. Plain and simple. He is the worst professional wrestler in a major company I have seen in at least probably 13 years since Ryback. It's that bad.
Do you so hold on. Do you really think he's that bad, or is it just your disagreement with the spot?
No, he's that bad.
Okay. Okay.
Like,
Listen, John, I tried. I tried to defend you. I tried.
It's just, it bothers me that I got to sit there every week and they do something stupid, and then I got to come out and be like, are you fucking kidding me? And that's how I feel about this, because you had to be a fucking idiot to do something like this. This is something you do at a CZW show in like 2006, or like XPW in like the early 2000s. ECW wouldn't do something like this.
First of all, I'm not going to disagree with you, but my comment from last night, especially, I felt was really the only comment I could make, and it's, why is this on television?
It shouldn't be.
If you want to escalate the violence in a match and use a weapon that A, no one has really ever used before, and B, is probably going to cause an issue, why is this on regular television? Just
no.
Why?
If Jon Moxley did this in WWE, he would have been fired.
Oh yeah, the old
they
man
would
never
have
would
fired him. Even Triple H, they still would have fired him.
I think Triple H would have been a little bit more lenient, but definitely would have gotten something from this for sure.
He would have gotten suspended for a time or fined or something, because this is backyard mud show bullshit. Say it with me, motherfucker! I understand, Jim.
My biggest issue is this, and it's not just the fact that it's gratuitous. It's the fact that I'm going to be 100% honest. Like, the reason I chose the picture I did, it's because it does not look as bad as when the gas station attendant tried to get in the ring to help Jon Moxley remove it, which just looked a million times worse. And that arguably was just objectively disgusting. I did not want to see that. Kudos to the people around the ring that got this thing off him, but here's my next
They never
comment.
should have been put in that position.
That's exactly what I was about to say. In addition to this, why did this match continue? And why did he win?
Exactly.
Like, what the
How
fuck?
do you not lose from something like this?
Exactly.
And on top of that, Paul Heyman, the worst thing that he let slide was probably that crucifixion angle with Sandman and Raven. They could probably fly now,
Listen, let's
but
backtrack for a second. Hold on. Because I agree that was probably the worst thing that he did. We talked last week to Gold Standard, and one of the things we talked about was the Katie Vick angle, in WWE. How many times, and this is why I cut you off, and again, I apologize, but it's such a telling
fine.
statement,
I understand.
and I want to make sure that we have this conversation. How many times do we need to justify the actions of this promotion, AEW? They did the Crown of Thorns. They've done this. They've done, Swerve beating the crap out of Darby
Oh, the
Allin.
syringe.
They've done the syringe. They've done the scissors. Like, what else needs to happen here for people to kind of wake up and be like, these angles are stupid and shouldn't be used in conventional professional wrestling by the so-called number 2 promotion in the United States?
The fact that no one from Warner Brothers Discovery hasn't called any sheet writer or anything, or at least made a statement about this, is completely, I don't know if it's blind to the company. I don't know if the company is ignorant to it. This should not be televised on a major network ever. It shouldn't have been. If Ted
agree.
Turner was
I
still
agree.
running the network, Turner would have literally just been like, "We're turning the lights out right fucking now. You're done." This has no business on any network television wrestling show. It has no business. You cannot dissuade me. You cannot give me an argument on why it does. You're a fucking idiot if you believe that. You are an idiot if you do not understand why this has no place on television. The fact that Tony Khan couldn't look at this guy in the fucking face and say, "There is no fucking way you're doing this spot," proves to me again why he is the most inept booker in the history of the industry.
He's also fucking irresponsible. Listen, at the end of the day, how do you not have doctors standing by when you know he is about to do this spot? How is it Wheeler Yuta the one to go in and try to remove it? Unless Wheeler Yuta is somehow, unbeknownst to us, a paramedic, which I highly doubt is the case, by the way, why is he the one to go in to try to remove it? Why is the ref sitting there trying to help Wheeler Yuta remove it? Where are the paramedics? Where is the staff? Oh, that's right. They're probably in Jacksonville, where they're barely even there in the first place anyways. Like, come on. And listen, I saw some of the arguments on social media about how, well, if you walk out a bed of nails, you don't get punctured. This isn't a fucking bed of nails.
Why are we even having that discussion?
Exactly. Why was that even brought up in the conversation too? Like, okay, cool. Does that look like a bed of nails to you embedded in Jon Moxley's back? Doesn't to me. Why does that somehow justify what they attempted to do in this match? And again, why was it attempted in the first place, number one? And if you're going to attempt something like this, why is it not on a pay-per-view?
It's complete shock value. It is complete and utter shock value on why this happened. This is, again, thinking their rationality of an entire company that this
that
is.
doesn't exist.
Of course, but their rationale they believe in their rationale that shock value, that this is a good thing for the company. It's not. All you're doing again is alienating more people from wanting to watch your program and take it fucking seriously.
100%.
You haven't had 1 million viewers on your TV in over 2 years. 2 years. And your payroll is in the 9 digits?
Listen, if
Come on.
that's true, that's stupid.
It is true.
That's stupid.
He was in the 9 digits for his payroll. It was over 100, and at one point last year, I think it was even before, Ospreay, Monet, and Okada signed. There have been other signings since. But before then, I think that their estimated total roster was making $110 million.
Well, I don't know when this was posted, but the AI answer is AEW payroll is roughly $104 million annually. So you were right.
Just around that.
Yeah, that's just stupid.
That is obscene.
Yeah, that is obscene.
And it's done nothing for you. It has done nothing. Once again, the funny part is, too, is I was looking at, because they're coming to the area again. They're having Collision at Springfield, and then they're doing Boston at the new MGM Fenway facility, which to be quite honest, that setting looks pretty cool for a wrestling event. I'm kind of digging that aspect of it. So there's a part of me that's like, maybe if tickets are really cheap enough, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see.
If I can go for like $25-$30, okay, fuck it, why not?
I don't see that being the case, but who knows?
It's just you never know.
Yeah, true.
Like it's just that's kind of the way I'm looking at it, because it's like, it's a night of wrestling, right? Fuck it, who gives a shit? Why not give it a shot? But every week, I don't want to have to come on here and talk about. I want to talk about positives with this company a lot of times. It's like, give me something
hard.
good.
They make it
It's
hard,
just
though.
they make it so hard. They make it so hard. And it's like right now I'm just looking at them and I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You gotta be kidding me with this Moxley thing. Like, how can you let this happen, Tony? How can you just sit there and just let this happen and not just be like, I sign your fucking checks, dude. You can't do this. It's not good.
I don't know what this does.
Does nothing.
Well, so hold on. I don't want to say that. For us, for you and I, and maybe the casual fan that only pays attention sporadically to AEW, because maybe they watch WWE and TNA and stuff. I don't think this does anything. Yes, but I'm very curious now. So I looked it up very quickly after. This is from WrestlingInc.com. So I don't know if this is accurate or not, just all things considered. But this week, the viewership was 658 for this week's episode.
Yes.
So that is a 5% increase from the previous week, they say, which was 628. is a 10% increase on the 4-week average of 597. It's also the 4th week where Dynamite ratings have risen, or Dynamite viewership, whatever. Here's what I become curious about, though. And we talked a little bit about this with Gold Standard, how some of the AEW fans gatekeep and stuff like that. And, having said all of that last week and mentioning it again now, I'm curious if that continues, both with the gatekeeping fans, but also their viewership. Because are fans going to be somewhat like you and I, and they're turned off by the spot? Are fans going to be like, oh shit, I'm going to see what happens next? And kind of like the Howard Stern snowball effect, they're going to start tuning in again and seeing maybe what happens next. Either way is what happens there, whether they lose viewers or gain viewers, is that then sustained, and is it attributed to the Moxley spot? And I think that has to be looked at. Truthfully, I think moving forward, whether it be, their next show is on Saturday or looking ahead to next Wednesday, what those numbers look like. I'd be curious to know, because again, I think there is that double-edged sword here where some people are going to look at that and be like, oh shit, I've never seen that before. Or there's viewers that, like myself, saw the other picture or video of Wheeler Yuler trying to pull it out of his back and just being incredibly grossed out to the point of just shutting it off. It goes both ways. So I would just, for me personally, I'd be curious to know what it does for their numbers. Because if it was me, like I'm saying, I'm not turning this shit on next week.
No.
I don't want to watch this shit.
No. It's just they well, number one, they need to take the belt off Moxley.
Oh,
if they don't have Swerve take the belt off him, I know they keep hanging around, and everybody's just like, you've been saying they're dying. Well, when your fans, the ones that are still hanging around, are telling you to drop Moxley, and you still have the belt, and it's just, we still have no idea what the Death Riders are doing. It's been 6 fucking months.
I don't even think they know.
It's been 6 fucking months, and we still have no idea what they're doing. We haven't seen the belt in fucking 6 months either, because he's like hiding it in a fucking briefcase. No idea.
I mean, I will say this actually now that I think of this, and I thought it was funny. So, you and myself and that other guy
Boo ran.
have our chat going on last night, and you mentioned this Moxley thing. Not the spot, but that he drove the 11 hours, which, again, all three of us were like, yeah, that's great for him, awesome, we like that about him and stuff. I turned it on after we talked about this because I was like, why, right? Like, there's a storm, okay. So I turned it on to see, just how many people were in the arena and stuff. Smaller venue, looked, from what I saw anyways, what TV shows you is only part of the picture, but it looked somewhat normal. Smaller venue, obviously, but it looked normal. I turn it on, and I'm catching probably the last minute or so of this triple threat match to determine the number one contender for the Continental, I believe, championship. Which,
yes, the one Kenny Omega has, yeah.
Yeah, which I didn't even know Kenny had a belt, but kudos for him, obviously. Good that he has something. And it's 2 guys I don't know in Ricochet. And then it's
Speedball Mike Bailey.
It was
and
Speedball,
then,
thank you.
Yes.
I forgot the other one. And Speedball wins, but Ricochet gets in there and covers too, so it looked like Ricochet won, kind of. The ref has no idea what the fuck's going on. And then they announced that I'm pretty sure Speedball and Ricochet were both considered the winners. And now both will challenge Kenny Omega for the Continental Championship. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like, I've literally watched 2 minutes at that point, and I shut it off. I'm like, this is stupid. right? Like, again, like we talked a little bit about Rhea Ripley and Io Sky and Bianca Belair and their potential triple threat match at WrestleMania, and how that's, not being booked in the right way to start that off or to get to the match, if you will. This was worse. This was worse than that. I'm just like, are you kidding me? So they both pin them, so they both technically win, so they're both in the match? Like, what? It's just dumb. So I turned it off. And then, of course, in turning it off, I missed this whole, nail bat thing with Jon Moxley. But
I don't understand with Speedball. I don't understand the appeal with Mike.
I don't understand the appeal of AEW.
I
at this
just
point, so-
every fucking person has been telling me, "Oh, he's so good" and all this stuff, and I'm just like, "What? Who the fuck is this guy? Like, what does he do?"
Speedball, 8-ball. I mean, I don't know.
Exactly.
Same
thing.
It's hard. It's hard to get invested in this product.
No,
like I just
it's
said,
so hard.
Like I want to like it. They have great talent over there in some cases, but then it's just like
He came out the
talk.
week before to literally no reaction.
Who, Speedball?
Yeah. No one gave a
surprised.
shit.
Dude, even Ricochet barely gets a reaction at this point, and he's a heel.
Fuck off.
Yeah, dude, like, oh my god. Like, it's one thing to not react to talent, but when they're doing it, like, for lack of a better term, unironically, you kind of know you're failing at that point. When the crowd just has no reaction to half your roster. It's like, dude, come on. I don't know. It's like I said, it's hard to like them. It is. It's hard to like them. It's hard to get engaged by a product that constantly tries to push this envelope and to be edgy. It's just like, dude, I'll put it this way. I'll bottom line it here. Mainstream hardcore wrestling has not been just that mainstream since like 2003, 2005.
True.
It just hasn't.
It hasn't.
So why are you still trying to push these hardcore matches? Why are you still allowing talent to be like, oh, it's real glass? Why are you allowing them to do a crown of thorns or a nail bat or spaghetti head or any of these things? Like, what is it doing? Nothing.
It's a slicer, It's just it's the same stuff that just.
Oh, and why are you letting your talent blade from a sling blade, by the way? That's a great
Oh
question,
my
too.
god, right? Like, how do you not think that people aren't going to just shit all over this? Like, how do you not think? And it's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm literally at the point with Jon Moxley. It's like, what's the over-under he's going to bleed? 75-25 that he's going to bleed? Okay.
I don't understand his thought process as a talent. And it's like,
He's an artiste, Dan.
you're looking at him too, and you're like, what was he in WWE then? Because WWE was actually okay. And now it's just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? This is what you left WWE for? Claiming like, I couldn't get with their creative. Well, what's this, dude?
Okay, you can get with the creative, but what the fuck are you doing now?
Exactly. What's this?
You're creatively destroying your body.
Because your 2018 run was better. Like, you realize that, right?
Can you imagine the
same
matches that they could have had he stayed? Especially now.
Especially now, even if he came back.
That's
Even
what I'm
if,
saying.
he went to AEW for a couple of years and then he was just like, fuck this. And then he just goes back to WWE, gets more of a,
Literally,
it's like.
he could have had, I'm going to say it this way, right? Like, we all know at this point, to some degree, what the matches for Mania are going to be. We obviously know that it's going to be a triple threat match between CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. But regardless of whether or not Punk comes back, you could have put him in a much more meaningful feud with another talent, whoever, and had Roman Reigns versus Jon Moxley / Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. and how huge that would have been. Instead, he fucks off to AEW to just, like I said, basically creatively destroy his body. Like,
Right.
it's dumb. It's so dumb. And listen, maybe there's aspects of that we don't know. He's expressed the fact that, you know, a lot of them have, that some of the writing at times was bad. We know that, dude. Roman Reigns and his succotash, for Christ's sake, is just a great example of how bad the writing was at one point. But looking at now, dude, we have to understand, like, this is why half the talent are done. They're not getting utilized properly, if at all, and they see the grass is way greener if they just go back and work with Triple H now, or Shawn Michaels for that matter. Like, it's like night and day all over again. 2019, when people started to leave or had already left, 1,000,000% did not blame them at all. 2019 was a down time for that product. Fast forward to maybe late 2022, early 2023. Maybe it's time to start looking at going back.
Yeah. No, you look at the guys in 2020, 2021 that made the switch, you know, like Adam Cole. I bet he's just internally kicking himself in the ass every day.
A fucking miserable mess at this point.
He is just like, I can't fucking believe. Like, every time he even thinks about Britt Baker, he's just like, I gave up being the next Shawn Michaels for a dentist who left my ass anyways and probably fucked Christian on me. Oh, I'm sorry, what?
Boo ran.
Sorry, sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, but
I do
you
not.
are, but you're not.
I'm not. I am, but I'm not. Yes, it's true. It's just this.
Oh, shit.
Allegedly. Like, allegedly, that's what happened. Allegedly.
Oh, you know what we can say at the end of the day, though,
Allegedly.
besides that?
Yep. I think that is, that's the key word phrase of the week, kids.
Damn right.
Yeah. It was nice. I mean, it was surreal at certain points that of that moment. I still don't think it's number one. They all think it's number one, this whole heel turn. It's like, come on, guys, really? Like, I know, though, history is written by the winners. That's their thought process of things. And they still have 4 weeks to kind of get this to kind of most of us to care. And that's the way with a lot of things right now with them, because we're all sitting here trying to come up with ways for us to really kind of care. And of course, it's going to be WrestleMania season, so I do care. I just want to be able to care more and feel excited and feel like that certain things are worthwhile. And I think that's I'm not the only person that thinks that. So,
Oh, I said it earlier. Like,
yes, exactly.
it's
I know
hard.
it's true. It's extremely true. And I know I'm repeating what you said, but it just needs to be said to kind of put a final stamp on it at least. Because yes, I want to be talking about this. I wanted this episode to be more. I feel like tonight was just a bitch session because everything was kind of just like, why are they not doing this? Why does AEW suck? Why is Tony Khan an idiot? Why is Jon Moxley a fucking moron? Like, it's just all reciting the same things of just negativity somewhat. And
It's just slow month, though. This is why we talked about this on the program before. This is why we can't do WrestleMania talk for a month plus on the lead up from coming out of Elimination Chamber to WrestleMania. It's too much.
we had plans this evening, but unfortunately, they fell through the last minute.
Shit happens.
Yeah, it does. So we were kind of just like, well, what's bothering us tonight? Well, we'll go with this. And that's kind of where we're tonight. I mean, we needed to of course, talk about the big news with the John Cena, the heel turn promo, the first one. And then, of course, we needed to talk about the Jon Moxley bullshit. What's going on with Rhea Ripley? What's going on with Bianca Belair? What's going on with Io Sky, that whole thing? What are they doing with Jey Uso and Gunther? Just everything that kind of bothered us because, yes, folks, WrestleMania season is important to us. But at the same time, we want it to be as perfect as it can be. Right now, it's not perfect. Right now, there's a lot of things that either got edged out a little bit, kind of figured out, so that way all of us can have a clear understanding of what we're supposed to be doing. Who's the heel? Who's the babyface? What, all this shit. That's all we want to know. What do we want to know? We want to know everything. We need to know everything here. So, is there anything we want to bring else to the table tonight?
I don't think so.
I am good.
Yeah, me too.
I am good. I am good with everything. So on behalf of myself and Mac, thank you for listening to PWW Talks here on YouTube under Diamond Podcasting Productions and on Spotify, Audacity, Apple, wherever else you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening, and thank you for staying on the road here to WrestleMania. We'll be back next week, hopefully to talk about some stuff that doesn't really just exclusively include the road to WrestleMania. And hopefully AEW doesn't do something really stupid. They might do something stupid, but not really stupid. So we don't have to talk about them next week in a negative light. So on behalf of Mac and myself, thanks again for listening. Please like and subscribe. Goodbye, everybody.